Right before things shift, something specific happens that most people misread entirely. The pressure increases. The sense of walls closing in appears. Questions that felt settled begin to reopen. Sleep becomes harder. Small things feel heavier than they should. Conversations carry more charge. The gap between where you are and where you are trying to go feels suddenly, inexplicably wider than it did before you started moving toward it. And the natural reading of all that, the reading that feels most obvious from inside the experience, is that something is going wrong. That this is a warning. That the accumulation of difficulty is evidence of a mistake somewhere, some wrong turn, some miscalculation about what was actually possible for you. That reading is wrong. And understanding why it is wrong changes everything about how you move through the next stretch of your life. Every genuine transformation you have ever experienced was preceded by exactly this. Not mild discomfort, not the ordinary friction of things being slightly difficult. The specific, destabilizing, 3 a.m. kind of discomfort that makes you question your own judgment and wonder if you have been building on air. Go back through your history and look honestly at the moments when your life actually leveled up in a lasting way. Every single one of them had a period directly before it that felt like falling apart rather than coming together. The breakdown precedes the breakthrough so reliably that once you see the pattern, the discomfort itself becomes information. It becomes confirmation rather than warning. The fire that gold passes through does not damage the gold. It burns away everything clinging to it that was never gold to begin with. The heat has to be real for that to happen. Comfortable temperatures do not refine anything. So when the heat of your current circumstances feels more intense than you expected, the useful question is not why is this happening? The useful question is what is being clarified, what is being stripped away, what is becoming more purely itself through this. Most people, when the pressure builds, begin negotiating with themselves. The negotiation sounds reasonable at first. Maybe the timing is wrong. Maybe when conditions improve, when there is more certainty, more support, more evidence that this is actually working. And so they step back. The retreat feels like relief. But underneath the relief there is something that does not go away. A quiet recognition that you moved away from something real, that you chose the familiar over your own evolution. That ache does not heal with time. It just becomes easier to avoid thinking about, and avoidance is not the same as healing. What is waiting on the other side of what you are currently facing is not available through a route around it. The only way to it is through. Some part of you already knows this. That is why you cannot fully settle into the retreat even when you try. The knowing keeps surfacing. There is also something worth understanding about why the breakthrough cannot arrive before the internal preparation is complete. This is not cruelty. This is precision. If what you are working toward arrived tomorrow, in your current configuration, your current patterns of thought, your current beliefs about yourself, your current internal structure, you would not be able to hold it. You would undermine it. The old beliefs would quietly create conditions that pushed it away. And then you would spend the next season of your life confused about why good things keep slipping through your hands, when the actual explanation is that you received them before you were built to sustain them. The pressure you are feeling is expanding your capacity. It is building the internal architecture that the thing you are calling in actually requires. The breakthrough is not delayed. It is being calibrated to match the version of you that is being assembled right now in the difficulty. And that version of you is larger than the one who started this process. If this conversation is meeting something real in you, there is a link in the description to support this work. It is there for anyone who feels moved, freely, only when it genuinely resonates. What has been given toward this from that kind of place is what makes it possible to keep reaching people at the exact moments they need it. The resistance that is making this hard is not coming primarily from your circumstances. It is coming from an older version of your identity that does not yet understand that its work is finished. That version has served you. It kept you functioning through situations it was designed for. But it was not designed for what is coming next, and it can sense that what is coming will require something it cannot provide. So it generates noise, doubt, second-guessing, the pull back toward what is familiar, even when familiar has become too small. Familiar feels safe, even when it is limiting. And the gap between who you have been and who you are becoming, that gap is where the pressure lives. You are not behind in your development. You are ahead. The external reality has not yet caught up to what has already shifted internally. And the catching up is what feels uncomfortable. This is also why your old strategies no longer satisfy you the way they did. Why the motivations that worked before feel flat now. Why advice that made sense to you a year ago sounds thin. This is not confusion or inconsistency. This is evidence that you have grown past the framework you were operating inside. Your standards have risen. Your awareness has deepened. The fact that the old approaches no longer fit is not a problem. It is confirmation that the expansion is real and that something more is being required of you now than before. There is something else that shows up in this particular window that most people interpret incorrectly. Sensitivity increases. Things affect you more intensely. You become more aware of what does not feel aligned, what belongs to an older version of your life, what carries a quality that your expanding interior can no longer tolerate. The temptation is to read this heightened sensitivity as instability or excess emotion. But your sensitivity right now is a precision instrument, not a malfunction. It is your internal compass becoming more accurately calibrated to the direction you are actually meant to move. The things that used to be tolerable feel louder now because your capacity to detect misalignment has increased. That is something to follow, not something to correct. It may mean pulling back from situations or relationships that do not have anything obviously wrong with them, just a quality that no longer fits the frequency you are operating at. It may mean feeling drawn towards something that does not yet have a clear explanation. It may mean needing more quiet, more rest, more internal space than currently feels productive or socially acceptable. That is not something to apologize for. Some of the most important movements in your life are going to be the ones that become obvious only in retrospect. The people around you who are watching this and offering their perspective, their care is real. But their map is built from their own coordinates. They are reading your situation through the lens of their own experience, their own fears, their own beliefs about what is possible and what is risk and what is reasonable. There is nothing wrong with them for doing that, but it means you have to hold their input with care. Love does not always translate into accurate guidance. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to keep moving in the direction your own knowing is pointing, even when the people around you cannot yet see what you are seeing. Their doubt can sound like wisdom in the middle of this. It can dress itself up in concern and practicality. Learning to receive the love while not inheriting the fear is one of the more nuanced skills this season is developing in you. Here is something practical that will serve you better than almost any strategy during this period. Every day, find a way to genuinely inhabit the feeling of being on the other side of what you are currently navigating. Not wishing for it, not working toward it from a posture of lack, actually practicing the feeling of it being already real. Your internal experience does not make a clean distinction between what is vividly imagined and what has actually occurred. When you practice the emotional reality of the breakthrough with genuine conviction, you are shifting the signal you are generating from scarcity to having. And that shift, practiced with consistency, begins to draw the physical reality toward you not through magic, but through alignment. The most direct thing you can do is to embody the version of yourself who already has this, in how you carry yourself, in the quality of your attention, in the choices you make today that belong to where you are going rather than where you are. Waiting for visible proof before you allow yourself to feel it is the posture that extends the gap. Inhabiting the feeling before the proof is the posture that closes it. The link in the pinned comment is there for anyone who wants to support this work. What is offered freely and from genuine care is what keeps this reaching people who need it. You already know you are close. Something in you recognized this conversation before it finished its first sentence. That same internal navigation that brought you here has been moving you forward through every transition you have ever made, including the ones that looked like failure from the inside while they were happening and revealed themselves as formation only afterward. The discomfort you are in right now is not the exception to that pattern. It is the pattern, the most sacred and uncomfortable part of the process. The part that always comes right before the thing you have been building toward becomes real. Nothing is wrong. Everything is in motion. And what is moving toward you has been calibrated for the version of you that this pressure is completing. Stay in it. Let it finish. The emergence is closer than it feels.